Good evening, folks. My name's Jim Worthen. The show is Worthen One-on-One. We're here every Friday night from 7 to 8 o'clock. Repeats for those of you who just have to catch up on the things you missed because we move so quickly. Are Monday at 1 p.m. That's in the middle of the day for those of you like me who don't know what AM and PM means. Tuesday, 5 a.m. and Wednesday, 5 p.m. We're also can be seen live now. If you have friends and you want to call them, they can see us on ustream.tv, Worthen One-on-One. And of course, I hate to tell my guests this, but you will be there forever, they tell me. That once we're on the internet, it's there forever. I think it's kind of a reverse eternity. I believe in the eternity to come, but the internet has developed a reverse eternity. My guest tonight is not a politician, not going to talk about religion. Most of my shows have been community and people oriented, but we just came out of a political season, so we've had a lot of politicians, and I've become more active in the Presbyterian Church, so we had a few Presbyterians, Catholic here and there, but my guest tonight is an old friend. I use the term very loosely, because he's so mean to me always. And I think a great local artist, Thomas Van Stein. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you. That was quite the introduction.
Yeah, I do well with introductions.
Yeah, you do.
Now, the goal of this show,
yes.
people don't understand it, isn't me. The goal of this show is you. And last week, I think I hit a record. I think I only was on camera or speaking 10 minutes out of the 58.
That is a record.
That's the goal, is for me to be 15 minutes or less.
Okay.
So
all right.
So you got to go. You got to go with it.
Time's up.
But don't be pushy, because the crew.
You're in charge.
Yeah, the crew are my friends. You could all of a sudden have no camera, no voice, and I used to tell people when I did radio that I could do the whole hour without any callers, without any discussion. Just turn me loose. So don't let me do that.
I won't.
Where were you born?
I won't. Pasadena, California.
Pasadena?
Good question, by the way.
Oh, that's always the first question. You know that.
I was born in Pasadena.
And your parents?
Shawnee, Oklahoma, and I think Hollywood, California.
And what did they do when you were born?
When I was born, my mom was raising 4 other boys, and my dad worked for a Somerset distributing company owned by Frank Sinatra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's another tangent, though.
Yeah. 5 boys.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 5 boys. Yeah.
Was that a trial in your life?
It was a trauma in my life, yeah. That was a trial, yeah.
Tell us about a coat hanger.
You would go for that, wouldn't you?
I go.
No, that's all right. It was rough being the youngest of 5 boys. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
okay?
particularly if you're a pussy.
But it gave me a thick skin, okay? Gave me a thick skin. But I'm still sensitive with a thick skin.
Oh, so do you think this contributed to your art?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because what happened was, as I was, if I wanted to hang out with my brothers, I couldn't cry. I couldn't be emotional. I had to stifle, and so they picked on me all the time. And if I cried, I couldn't hang out. So,
did you go tell mom and dad that they were picking on you?
Probably I did. I don't remember
then they
that.
picked on you more.
But they would give me coloring books, and they say, "Here, there's your savior." So sure enough, I started drawing, as a child, and just kept sketching. And I did see a release. I felt a release in the act of drawing and painting as a child.
How many of your brothers are still alive?
All are still alive.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
and my mom and dad are still alive.
We may get to it later, but you're a Second Amendment advocate, and you believe in guns, and so I find it hard to believe that your brothers are still alive as me as they were to you. I thought everybody who was for the Second Amendment killed people. And I know you have
a lot of
guns.
strange beliefs there, young man.
No, I see this in the media.
Yeah. Don't believe the media.
Oh, okay.
I got to tell you. Yeah.
So
turn it off.
You had a period in your life where I don't know if the term is accident prone, or you had pissed off somebody upstairs.
Well, what I figured was because of my pin-up emotions and not being able to cry, I attracted to myself a lot of accidents. So I would cry. I would release these emotions. So I became known as an accident-prone kid growing up, and I had some pretty severe accidents.
What was the worst one?
Well, the worst one was probably when I got hit by the car when I was 13. It broke my femur and gave me a skull fracture, broke my jaw. See the scar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were hit by a car?
A car, crossing my bike in a crosswalk in Burbank, California. And it laid me up for 4 months on my back.
That again, we get back to guns. People talk about gun accidents and how many kids are killed, and every year 3 or 4 times as many kids are killed on their bicycle as are shot by guns. Yeah.
Interesting point. Interesting point.
Bicycles should be outlawed.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been walking with your bicycle, this wouldn't have happened. You know.
Did I tell you it was an illegal alien who was driving the car?
Let's not get into politics.
You started it.
At 13, you were in high school.
No, I was in junior high school. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my worst accident.
Where did you go to junior high school and high school?
Junior high was David Starr Jordan Junior High School in Burbank, California, and then John Burroughs High School in Burbank, California.
Do those names have any significance?
Now?
No,
my
ever.
alma maters? Ever?
Yeah. Like I went to Bret Hart.
I'm happy. You went to Bret Hart, really?
Bret Hart Junior High School.
Really?
Great Western author.
Huh.
Yeah.
John Burroughs, I think, was a naturalist. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
He
hung out with Thomas Edison and Whitman and those guys, I think.
That may have got into your psyche because
maybe.
A lot of your art, as we'll see, is of
psycho?
Natural. No, not
is
psycho.
natural?
Natural.
Oh, natural.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I'd like to think that.
about
I do love nature.
Yeah.
And
you paint it so well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want for that?
No, nothing. I am probably the only person, as I read your biography and have talked to you over the years, I'm probably the only person you've ever met that hasn't been a positive influence in your art and life.
Well, you can be as soon as you buy your first painting.
Oh, is that what it takes?
That's how it works. All of a sudden, you're a positive influence in my life. We're friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did, when you graduated from high school, you didn't go right into college.
Yes, I did. I went straight into college, 5 years at Cal State Northridge, and then I did a year at Art Center in Pasadena. Then I took off and traveled around the world and stuff.
When you say I did a year, sometimes that sounds like...
I spent a year there. Yeah, it was like prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever
spent
been to
time
jail? Have you ever
at
been
Art
to
Center.
jail?
Have I? No, I have not been to jail.
Never? Oh, it's an experience.
Is it?
It's one, I'll have to help you get there.
Well, afterwards.
Yeah,
tell me over a drink afterwards.
I'm not drinking.
Oh, that's right.
February, I don't drink. The bars in Santa Barbara have almost a bankrupt attitude during February because I don't drink.
They're not the only things that have bankrupt attitude in Santa Barbara.
So as you went through this 5 years,
at Northridge,
were you
I was an illustration major there,
focusing on developing this coloring book.
Absolutely,
that you started out as a
my
child.
life was a coloring book, and so I was doing that, and I was doing fencing as a sport, and I was
fencing as a sport in college.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
that was before they gave women equal rights, and they did away with so many sports that men were involved in. I bet there isn't a fencing program in this country left unless it's co-ed.
At that time, my sword was mightier than the pen.
Ah,
you see.
Very good. Were you good at it?
I was pretty damn good at it. Yeah. Yeah, I won awards.
You did?
Yes. Yeah.
You didn't go to the Olympics, though, because...
no, by one touch, I missed going to the Nationals. My
really?
senior, next to my teammate, one touch. He went and I didn't. So, but that was pretty cool. I was on four
and
first
with your
place
gun,
teams,
you didn't become first by him accidentally getting shot.
No.
I've got to tell you how good
You're
guns
a little
are.
obsessed tonight there, Jim Worthing.
I'm
a little
obsessed with the way guns are. I'm told guns are used in society, and you're an iconoclast.
Yeah, they outlawed dueling in the 19th century.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. My uncle Andy Jackson shot some guy because he said something nasty about his wife.
I think he was probably the last one to be, shot in a duel.
After college, you didn't jump right into a career or a married life.
I traveled. I got my.
You were a vagabond.
I got my pilot's license, and then I took off and I traveled around the world for a year with
a plane.
With a backpack.
Oh.
I did fly in a couple of places. 34 countries, and then I came back and started painting. And
well, tell us about some of your world travels.
What do you want to know?
Yeah, you did a kind of a fellowship, or you in Jerusalem, you did some painting there.
Yeah, I did a lot of painting when I was traveling, painting and sketching and illustrating letters. And then in Jerusalem, I met a guy who, convinced me that I needed to get baptized. And so he set it up with the Royal Scots Memorial Church just outside the walls of David in Jerusalem. And I got baptized, a non-denominational Christian.
And then you painted for the Jewish community.
Exhibit. That was in India.
Yeah,
that was a few years later. I've been around the world a couple times now, and that was another
before they took your passport away from you. Yeah.
They didn't do that. Why are you spreading rumors like that?
When they hear about your guns, they'll take your passport away from you.
Now, fear-mongering now.
I do that.
I think I need to go paint. I'm getting emotionally
well, I hope to,
upset.
Yeah, I hope to evoke in you some, kind of bedlam type paintings.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
You've already started.
So,
yeah.
A Jewish
All
painting.
right. What it was?
It was about Sinai.
No. I'll tell you what it was.
Okay.
In 1991, I studied with a holy man named, his full name was Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And he had he was in India, and I went and studied with him for about 5 weeks at his ashram. And they found out I was an artist, and so they put me to work. And I wound up painting a mural for the Jewish exhibit in the Sai Museum, which was a museum dedicated to housing exhibits from all the world's religions. Because the idea is that all roads lead to Rome. Okay, whatever faith you are, you need to pursue it. Dig deep for the pearls. But all roads lead to Rome, and there's only one God, and that's God's omnipresent, and it's all about love.
And
so the Jewish exhibit was the newest one to be inducted into the museum, and so I wound up working for 3-4 weeks on this project.
Now, was he
there.
Hindu?
He's all religions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all religions.
And did you keep in touch with him afterwards?
Not so much afterwards, although I was the president for the Sai Baba Center here in Santa Barbara for a couple of years. I mean, you're never not in touch with him, if you know what I mean. If the more you find your form that you're pursuing, whether it's Jesus or Allah, if you find that form, you eventually see that in all things. So there's a oneness to everything.
Except for me.
I see him in you. I'm having a conversation right now with him. Yes, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
I'm the least godlike person you'll ever meet.
It's all one. It's all one. Yeah.
So what did you do for this exhibit? What did you paint?
I did a couple of things. It was as if you were in a synagogue, and there were 35 artists, international artists that were working on this exhibit, and it was about having Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments on top of the mountain, and I did the mural of the Sinai Desert behind the mountain, and then I also did some Chagall stained glass windows. I painted some windows and stuff, and it was extraordinary because Sai Baba would come in a couple times a day and communicate with us while we were.
Had you been to the Sinai?
I had at that time. I'd already been there. Yeah, that in '86 I was into Sinai. Yeah.
Now.
Didn't see much.
Yeah. Well, it's a desert.
Yeah. Pretty flat, dry.
Right.
Yeah.
86. Yeah. That was after the famous Episcopal Bishop Pike went to Jerusalem and went out into the Negev desert.
Went naked into the desert?
And within like 30 miles of Jerusalem, died of heat exhaustion and thirst.
It's pretty warm out there, I hear. Yeah.
Deserts are deserts.
Yeah.
People forget that.
They're arid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was that experience.
You did that, and what brought you?
What brought me back?
What brought you to Santa Barbara?
To Santa Barbara.
It goes back. I know.
The year I was born, in 1961, my parents bought a beach house in Carpinteria, and we lived in Burbank. And I went through all the Burbank Unified School District, and we would spend 40 weekends out of the year at our beach house in Carpinteria.
Oh.
So Santa Barbara, Carpinteria are just pretty you know, close. Always going there on the weekends and stuff. And so
Sort of like my.
it's always been in my heart, and I've always I can say I've been all over the world now, and it's got everything I need right here.
You still live in Carpinteria?
I do.
You married, had 2 children.
Yes, and yes.
Yes, and now you're a single parent.
Yes. Well, we're co-parenting.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's very good.
Yeah, thank you.
And you do.
It's a lot of work.
I have to compliment you. You do have 2 delightful young men. They're now what age?
They are 17 and 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
17 and 14, and
I know
taller than me now.
They were. They were always better looking and taller than you, but
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Insult your guests some more.
I always do. Now, your boys were playing sports. Are they still at it, or?
Yeah, baseball. The oldest one's in baseball, and the youngest one's in water polo.
Oh.
Yeah.
No contact sports. They don't want a brain injury.
They both played football, but now they are pursuing more academic programs, and I'm staying out of it.
Yeah. Let them make their choice.
Absolutely.
And support
and they're doing very well at it. They're very high in GPA.
Good.
Both of them are doing extremely
now,
well.
We skipped over it a little bit, but I think it's interesting to say that when you were 13, this bicycle accident was very serious.
Yes.
Fractured skull, coma.
Yeah.
Hospital for weeks.
Yes.
And what
lots of nurses.
Yeah. Well, you were too young to.
I was at the right age.
Oh. so that's why you kept staying in the hospital. There were pretty women there.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Now,
how do I get myself back in there?
Now I could arrange. When you at one point a doctor told you something pretty ominous, didn't he?
Well, he told my parents this, and I learned later on it was because of the severity of the skull fracture. That he said he may not be mentally stable the rest of his life because of this skull fracture. So they were right.
No, he wasn't. I've watched you. You're a very focused person. You enjoy life, and you've found, and we'll get to some of the things you've done, but you're very focused. You're not unstable at all.
I can be.
Oh, you can?
And I can be, and I could be askew.
Yeah.
I could be askew like the best of them.
I've never seen that. You hide that from me, huh? You hide that from the public?
You just got to hang out a little bit more.
Oh, no, thank you. Okay. So you living in Carpinteria, painting, and you specialize in one particular type of art.
Yeah, that's what I'm known for. That's my métier, as they say.
So what's that?
My métier.
What, is that French?
It's French, yeah.
We don't speak French here. I hate the French.
Right.
Yeah, we keep going saving their asses, and they don't show us any gratitude. So, go ahead. So, tell us about your specialty.
My specialty, what I'm known for, is painting at night on location. Okay, which means I take all my painting gear out on location, and I put on a couple of book lights on the canvas, and I have my palette there, and I have a headlamp on a hat, and I paint what I see at night. So it's one of those things, when an artist really wants to find out what his specialty is, they search and try to find their strengths. And every time I did this particular type of painting, I got stronger and stronger and stronger. So I wound up having shows in this genre of painting. And I wound up, when I went back to school in 1997, I think it was, for my master's degree, I spent 2 years doing that type of work, but instead of doing beautiful moonlight paintings on location, I would need to go down into LA and darker, seedier places and do more urban industrial landscapes at night on location. So that was the
train stations.
Well, yeah, gritty places.
Yeah.
Places where you're on edge and where you don't really want to be at night. But
did any street people or gangbangers ever?
Yes.
What they do?
All the above.
What'd they do? They come up
Most
and say,
of the time
"What
they're
the
just
shit you doing?"
curious. Sometimes they'll yell at me if they're just psycho. They'll yell at me and I'll yell back. The interesting thing was I was approached by a gang one time. Actually, that was in Goleta. I was painting in Goleta by the tracks, and I guess these gang members came by, and they were breathing down my neck, you know, walking behind me, breathing down my neck. And one of them said, you know, my cousin is an artist, and he draws. He's in prison. And I go, oh, really? What does he draw? And he says, oh, he draws, you know, figures and stuff. And so I started a dialogue with them, and that immediately started to depressurize the situation, and they wound up hanging out. They all sat around, they watched, we talked, they watched me paint. I showed them things, I showed them how to paint, I gave them a lesson, and you know, and they wound up hanging out for the entire rest of the evening.
I've come socially to where you were painting at,
yes.
at Butterfly Beach,
yeah.
First Thursday.
Yes.
I've stumbled on you painting in Montecito at night.
You must have a flashlight when you come out
and
at night, so you don't do that.
I quickly move on because there's this crazy guy over there painting in the middle of the night. I'm going to go have a drink. You are teaching.
Yes.
You're teaching at City
I've taught
College?
21 years now through City College. I'm an adjunct professor at Adult Ed. And I teach landscape painting, I teach color exploration, and I teach 2 beginning oil painting classes.
Yeah, we had a funny incident in our family.
Okay.
Remember you had this lady in your class and you kept calling her Mrs. Worthen?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
My ex-wife, who was married to the assistant county counsel and hadn't been married to me for about 15 years, you kept calling her Mrs. Worthen.
Well, I didn't know that she had another name. She actually introduced herself. She just said, I'm Jim Worthen's ex-wife. That's all she said. So she became Mrs. Worthen to me.
That's part of the brain injury.
For what it's worth. It's part of the brain injury, yeah.
If people can afford it, and I know you're cheap, you do private lessons, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I teach privately. I teach publicly and privately. I do workshops.
And people can reach you through...
yeah, through my my website. It's fine. You just Google my name, you'll find me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
About, what, 6 or 8 years ago, you
Yeah.
ran into some crazy guy.
Yeah.
Who's
Actually, it was about 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
CIA, FBI.
Yeah, he's actually a
undercover.
former overseas contractor for the FBI.
Yeah.
Not CIA. But so let's get that straight.
Well, except as we found out about a year ago, his partner in non-crime but in investigations was one of the top men in the CIA after he retired.
Oh yeah, well yeah, his partner was, but or his friend was, Claire.
Claire
right?
George.
Yeah, Claire George. Yeah. Anyways, I met him. Yes.
Do we know his name? Do we want to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. His name is Robert Arringer.
That's right. I've had you guys on together.
Yes, you have.
Because
you know these.
You go do crazy things.
Yes.
Yeah, you search.
We search in search of creativity and madness. We go on journeying around the world.
I've seen a lot of your works and his together.
Yes.
And I don't know that I can't. Creativity. I know you find madness. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's about the idea, and one thing leads to another. You know, like we went to Iceland, our first journey to, because I'm a night painter. He said he hears that the purest skies, the night skies in Iceland are the purest in the world, and so he commissioned me to go to Iceland for him in the midwinter during the Feast of Thor. Yeah, absolutely. He goes with me every time. He doesn't send me away. You know, he writes. He's also a novelist, so he writes while we're on these journeys. And what happened with Iceland is sparked a surreal bounce journey that lasted 10 years, and it continues. It keeps deepening. And
shall we start with some of your paintings and
let's
you tell
do
us
that.
A story?
Yeah,
because we only have 5 minutes left.
Okay, let's do it. Go quick.
No, we're about halfway through the show, so let's start with your art.
Okay.
And these people could buy for about $50. Is this?
All right.
Tell us about that.
This is a demonstration painting for my class. that I teach. It's called Light and Shadow in Art, and that's painted actually looking at the Santa Barbara Bird Refuge from the Montecito Country Club. One of my students is a member there, so she got us in there as a class, and that was my demo painting. All right.
And let's move on to the let's move on through the art. And
so
I've seen that.
Yeah, this one. This is down on Butterfly Beach. This is painted on location. And I'm into what they call chiaroscuro. It's the Italian term for light, dark contrast. And so made famous by Vermeer.
It's better than French, yeah. Although they never won a war either.
Are you hungry or something?
No.
Okay.
And that's from in front of the Biltmore.
That's correct. Yeah, it's painted right on the beach in front of the Biltmore. So I'm into the light. Okay, so this is also what I teach. The saying that you teach what you need to learn is very true. All right. So
yeah.
I continue to do demonstrations for my classes, and I teach this type of painting.
And the next painting.
Next.
Gentlemen,
Oh, that wasn't supposed to be on there, but
yeah. Tell
okay,
us what that
that's
is.
a demonstration painting for my class as well. You know, the object is to show up on location wherever I choose the class to show up, and then pick a subject matter and make something out of it.
So you take 5, 10, 20 students to a
yeah,
site.
Yes, yeah.
And you set up.
And I set up and I do a demo, and they either paint what I'm painting or they paint what they're painting. And so that was just a demo.
Are you a tough grader?
We don't grade in adult ed. So you can take my class and not worry about failing.
I've never.
We may heal you yet.
I've never failed a class.
Oh, you might fail my class. Don't get so cocky, man.
There's no grade. And if the crew will move through the pictures we've picked out.
Okay. He's supposed to go. He's showing all the ones that were on the list.
Yeah. Mike, in the control room, you're showing the ones I excluded. Can we try and skip through those and go to the others? 'Cause,
show everyone that's not on that list.
We brought in, you brought in about 60.
That's a good one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm showing this painting here. This is done down on the Carpinteria Bluffs. I had a friend who passed away who came and actually stood with me while I painted this painting. And
very famous friend.
Yeah, and he was doing a TV show on the Oak Group.
That looks like California Gold to me.
It does, but it was called California's Green, and it was Huell Hauser. And so I wanted to show this painting because he just passed, and so that's my homage.
Kind of tribute to Huell.
Yeah, Huell.
Ah, now that I love.
This is just a typical scene, plein air painting from Mountain Drive looking out over Santa Barbara.
Almost to Gibraltar Road,
yes.
Mountain Drive.
Yes.
And I've driven up there many times and just sat and watched.
Yeah, those are called pretty picture landscapes. You know, they're, and then, you know, people like those. There's nice warm light, complementary colors and things. So
Stearns
that's what I teach.
Wharf and yet
that's home.
Close up the canyons.
Yes.
I think. How do you pick pictures like that?
How do I paint pictures like that
now
quickly?
So
these next two pictures here show an example of my night painting. This is out on Stearns Wharf about 4 in the morning, and the Pilgrim, which is from Sir Richard Henry Dana's 2 years before the mast, was in port, and so I wanted to capture it at night, and so that's my setup. So let's go to the next painting.
Let's go to the picture of the that was painting.
Yeah, this was the painting that I had done.
So the tall ship there.
That's correct. That's the Pilgrim.
A lot of people don't realize that Dana wrote that book in the De La Guerra adobe.
Yeah, that's correct.
And
so there's context.
Yeah.
So there you go. Next.
And you did that at 4 in the morning.
Yeah. Yes, I started at 4 and I finished about 6, and then I finished it in the studio. You have to work fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't your fingers freeze?
I wear fingertipless gloves.
Ah, sort of like a race car driver, but with paint.
Yes, I work fast. I paint like my house is burning down.
You paint like you're at Daytona 500, right?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks.
All right, let's do the next one. There's an example of painting at night when it's foggy. Okay, this is down on Mission Creek in
looking back toward the
Cabrillo Boulevard. The skateboard park would be there on the right-hand side.
And those would be looking toward Fess Parker.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of the pictures people are going to recognize, pardon me, from a different context. You know, they many Santa Barbarans didn't. This had to be the middle of the night.
Yeah, this is in the middle of the night. Sue Grafton, the mystery writer, purchased this painting. It was actually one of the cover pieces for when I won the IAA award for Santa Barbara County, the Individual Artist Award in painting. That was my show.
I didn't realize that you won awards and everything.
I win
that.
awards.
Yeah.
I do. I get lucky every now and then.
Yeah, well, right on, guys. Now
Keep
you got
going.
the right set of pictures. Although, don't panic if you put up something that this is one I love.
So this is had a very Oriental influence, painted on location at above Summerlin Beach, and it's a moonrise over Loon Point, and I sold this painting in New York in my first solo show at the Eleanor Edinger Gallery.
You get
in
$10?
2001.
Yeah.
$10. Yeah, you're funny.
Now, all kidding aside, just so people have a context,
yes.
What is kind of the range of
my
prices
paintings?
For these?
For you, almost free.
No.
Very special deal.
Seriously. No, what kind of range have you sold in from $2 to what?
I have sold my paintings anywhere from $100.
None of these would be $100.
No, $100 on up to around $16,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the $16,000 was a kind of a commission that I did for a couple that sent me to Italy, to Lake Como, to paint a 4-foot by 12-foot triptych of Lake Como for their movie industry office building in L.A. So anyway, that was a big one for me.
Oh, I guess. That
Thanks.
probably kept you in clothes and food and alimony for...
That was before I had kids.
Oh.
Anyway.
That kept you in booze for a year.
Kept me in booze? Silly.
And
You're being silly
let's have
now.
the next shot, folks. I had to pick this one.
Yeah, this is
we were going through earlier choosing pictures, and this one is...
this is painted on location in front of our Queen of the Missions.
I've heard that either this or our courthouse, and maybe both, are the most photographed scenes in the world.
Yeah,
and
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and people say, well, how can that be? We don't have millions of tourists like they have in San Francisco. And it's because of Brooks Institute.
Huh.
They had every kid that went to Brooks had assignments of shooting the courthouse and the mission. So,
shooting with what?
Cameras.
Okay. So that painting, I wanted to let you know, it was a very rare window that I guess the head priest was a landscape painter or landscapist, and he changed the lighting to put these cool, I guess, mercury vapor lights on the facade, and it gave the effect of moonlight. And so it stayed like that for about 3 or 4 months before they changed it back to these low.
Now, did he do that for you, or was that his desire?
No, he didn't know I was there.
illuminate?
But I saw it, and I thought I had to paint it. So that's why it has that cool moonlight effect on it. Okay, next. Thank you. Oh, no, not that one.
Yeah, we did really good
go.
at picking pictures. Terrible on bridges. Between the pictures, we thought they'd just
Terrible
come up
on
like
bridges.
that. The bridge.
The bridge. That's a good one. Let's show that one.
No, oh God.
What do you mean?
This is my
terrible?
worst experience with a guest. He tries to take
The
over.
worst.
Yeah.
Well, see, I can see. You can't see the image.
That's another one of mine from TV Hill, right?
Look at all the jewels and gems down in the valley. That's the Santa Barbara at night on a November evening from my friend's house up on next to where the Shah of Iran's daughter lived.
Oh, not on TV Hill. That's from...
that's the next one over. Yeah, that's near Hope Ranch.
Yeah, Hope Ranch, yeah. That is absolutely... That's why we don't catch the edge of Stearns Wharf.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's from...
So that was for my show that I had at the James Maine Gallery this last December and January. This was a showpiece for that. Next.
Yeah. And,
I'm ready.
And
Keep going.
what I love about your pictures is the full moon.
Do you? How about
Yeah.
that full moon?
Now we're getting into your travels with
Erringer.
with Crazy Charlie. I mean, with
Crazy
Robert
John.
Erringer.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the mad guy.
I really like him. But
Robert,
but
let me tell you
do you
something
think
about him.
did he have a head injury too?
He would have to hang
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
with me.
Okay.
Go
back
let's show
to
that picture.
Bedlam, yeah.
During the travels into Creativity and Madness with Robert Erringer, he bought a bar in London and he named it Bedlam. The term Bedlam after the Royal Bethlehem Mental Hospital.
Yeah.
And so when we would go on our journeys, we would stop in London, and he would, run the business for a couple of days, and then we go gallivanting around. Anyway, so that's my rendition of the Bedlam Bar from across the street in Hampstead, England.
Does his family still own it?
No.
I know,
Oh, you know what? I think they
his
do.
brother,
I think his brother
was running it. Yeah.
It's a novelty shop.
Now, folks, this is very educational. I know it's above your pay grade, but the term Bedlam, we've all heard it in the vernacular. I went into the Sunday school class and it was Bedlam, or I went to a teenage party and it was Bedlam. Now you know it came from an insane asylum.
That's correct.
It seeped into our language to describe.
Okay.
So
Speaking
really,
of Bedlam, this is in Iceland. Okay, it's 15 degrees outside, and this is where it all began. That whole surreal bounce. So they have a mental hospital there called the Klepper, or the House by the Blue Bay, and so I had our driver drop me off, and this was my first Madhouse painting.
So this was the first.
Started a whole series of Madhouse paintings.
Insane asylum.
Yeah.
I noticed Erringer wasn't. Boy, my voice tonight. Erringer wasn't there with you.
No, he doesn't go with
degrees,
me. No, he doesn't go with me when I do these
15
paintings.
degrees,
No.
no.
He hangs out in the bar and meets people and stuff, and I go out and I do all the hard labor.
Yeah.
You know.
Does he look at the pictures?
Oh
and
yeah,
then
he
buy
buys
them?
them. In fact, Erringer is probably the greatest collector of all my work. He probably owns around 90 of my works.
Yeah, we've talked about
And,
how much money he would make if you
I were
passed
to
away.
die.
Yeah.
It's so nice you
Dead
said
artist,
passed
yeah.
away,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying killed or something.
Oh no, he hasn't offered me enough of the profit yet. And believe me, I will be 500 miles away when you die by accident.
Well, why don't you buy a painting first? That way you're guaranteed it's going to go up in value. Okay?
We talked about it. I'm very interested in
next
you painting. You talked about how you spent weekends in Carpinteria. Well, when I was that age, I spent weekends in Yosemite Valley, and it's kind of my Carpinteria. And
Well, you can commission me then. I'll go up there and paint something under moonlight for you.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on that. How about the next one? This is cool. This is my first night in London. Opened the lounge hotel window to my room, and that was the view out my window in the rain.
How did you get that guy with the umbrella? To
Well, there were a
stand
lot of
there?
people walking by, and I just painted him from memory.
Oh.
Basically.
Oh, you mean this
So,
wasn't? You
it's
didn't
done on
yell.
location.
You didn't
Yeah.
yell.
Stop!
Stay there. I'm
Yeah.
painting you. Don't move, you asshole.
No, that's one thing about painting in plein air. You see things, and then you work from memory. So, painting from life in general, or drawing from life, develops your memory. So you're seeing things. You are seeing things. And I don't mean seeing things. I mean you are actually really seeing things when you start to study.
Take a photograph.
That's correct.
With your mind.
That's right.
And you also, and we may see some of them, you also reproduce other artists' paintings.
Yeah, you will see something like that coming up.
You also take
Next.
pictures. And but that guy didn't just stand there
No, he
for you
didn't.
for hours.
He was a shadowy character, just moving along.
I
Okay, next one.
tell everybody that you made Erringer stand out there all that time.
Do you? Aw.
Yeah, that's what I. So
This next one here, this is in Girona, Spain. We had gone in search of creativity and madness to Andorra, and from Monaco to Andorra to Figueres to Salvador Dali and his haunt. Anyway, so this was done about 1 o'clock in the morning in the village where we were staying.
and then people were out on
Oh
the
yeah,
street.
oh yeah, they don't go out till late in Spain,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, because they slept all day.
Yeah. So that's done right there on location. It's a really cute little town.
Now,
yeah.
The point of this trip wasn't to find a madhouse. It was to
study Dali. Yeah, another madman. Yeah. So our creativity and madness was in search of artists and writers who were on the edge. You know, like Dali, like Van Gogh, like you name them.
Do we have to wait till you're...
Go on to the next one, please.
Do we have to wait till you've been institutionalized?
Committed? Well, let's just take a look at this shot here. So we went in search of Van Gogh's asylum, and we were the only one in the asylum at the time. And
I'll bet there was a rail.
There was a rail. There was a rail, so you could look in. This is the room where he painted the Starry Night in, as well as that portrait there. Anyways, there was nobody around, so I hopped over the railing and hopped into his bed, and Robert took that picture of me. So I could have been committed for that, you know.
You could have been arrested.
I should have been committed for that.
Now, is that where you found his ear?
No, we found his ear in the wall in the men's restroom, believe it or not. Robert found it, not me. That's another story.
Yeah, so he says.
Yeah. He wrote a book called An Ear in Provence. So.
Was that in Provence?
Yeah, it's in Saint Paul de Massol, is in near Saint-Remy.
Yeah,
in
near
Provence.
Another.
Would you work on your French accent, please?
Near another mental institution.
What, Paris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Provence.
Okay. Next. Okay, back at the Bedlam Bar. This is a good one coming up. Go ahead and do that one. There you go. This is inside the Bedlam Bar. There was a jazz night every night. And so I just kind of sketched that right from my table of the jazz singer and the pianist and stuff. A lot of activity, really fun. More abstract than I
sketched
normally
it out
would.
and then later filled
it
out?
No, that's it. That's done all a prima, which means in French in one sitting.
Oh,
okay.
So you didn't just sketch it. You painted
I
that
painted
right
on
there
location,
at the table.
Yes,
yeah.
zippity-doo.
So.
Okay. Next one.
So whenever anyone would let you in a bar to paint, you didn't go stand outside and freeze to death?
No.
If it was possible, you got inside.
Absolutely.
You're not completely nuts.
Yeah. In fact, I've painted in nightclubs. I've painted in bars. I've painted in phone booths. I've painted in, you name it. I've painted it in places.
I don't notice any naked women.
Well, we can go on beyond this. This is Robert Ehringer's book called Spookaroony.
Now this is an interesting study.
That I illustrated the book cover for. Okay, so here we go. Robert just published a book, and it's called Montecito Madness. And so this is this preliminary sketch. This is how I start my nocturnes out. So this is the underpainting and the design. And so if we go to the next one.
Wait. Don't move on. Who's that in the window?
Well, that's the ghost of Charlie Chaplin.
For those of people who don't know, Charlie Chaplin was a developer in Santa Barbara. He came here originally to the Flying Ace Studios, and they did, he and Mary Pickford and other silent stars did some of the very early silent movies. Yeah. And the Flying Ace Studios, you can still drive by it on Mission Street, just up from De La Vina.
Huh.
Yeah,
okay.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we got to move along.
No, we're stretching now.
I noticed.
We've got 15 minutes to go, and
we've got a lot of pictures to cover, man.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one. Okay, here's an example of me painting on location. Okay?
And this is filling out the sketch that you had made of the Montecito Inn.
You can see I'm wearing my Russian cap with a headlamp on it, and then I've got a couple of book lights on the painting, and you can see the Montecito and the moon. So let's see the next picture.
I think I was standing behind you then. Nah,
so
this
is how the picture came out. And you got
who's that inside the bar?
That's Robert and myself having a drink.
You painted yourself?
That's correct, because we traveled together.
I thought it was Bruce Johnson.
We traveled to unravel. No, let's go back to the painting. I'm going to show you something. Bruce Johnson, Beach Boy, comes there frequently, and he said you should put a 1938 Woody Rolls Royce in it. So that's his suggestion. I put a Woody Rolls Royce with a surfboard on top. And then coming down the sidewalk is another friend of ours who comes in from time to time, and that's T.C. Boyle in his trademark red
tennies.
Red tennies, yeah. So, and if you see here, this is hot off the press. This is the book. Can't really see it too well, but This is the image
has
on the book.
that
Just
picture
been
on the
released.
front
Actually, it
page.
comes out April 1st on Amazon, right?
Right.
So
I hear that
it's all good.
I hear he doesn't say very nice things about me in it, but as
suck it up.
oh, okay. Well, as Will Rogers said, I don't care what they say about me as long as they spell my name right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's
a good way to be.
That's like
That's a good way
what's
to
his
be.
name? Did you want some water?
Yeah.
You know, it's you know,
What's his name? Who are you talking about?
155 times on
MSNBC.
MSNBC
Yeah.
of our friend Senator Rubio getting
So in other words, he
water.
took a drink 155 times.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. He
yeah.
would have been well hydrated after
Yeah.
that, I would
oh,
think.
here.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's. Well, we can move on beyond that. I was painting the Exorcist stairs there. So Robert wrote a book and commissioned me to paint this painting here. It's called A Tale of Two Genocides. Both his parents or his grandparents were involved with the Armenian genocide and the Jewish Holocaust. And so this was a painting I did of Auschwitz under the full moon for his book. So there's a lot of deep and meaningful content to it. Yeah. So let's move on.
I won't make any jokes about that.
Okay. All right.
You don't think he has any Sioux blood in him?
You mean lawsuit?
No, Sioux Indian. I mean, if you're going to have genocides in your family.
Oh, I'm not too sure about that. That last picture there. This is we went up to Bolinas in search of creativity and madness in the writer Charles Bradigan, and on our way back through, came through Carmel, and we're at Sadie's, which is the last bar in California that you could smoke in. So we were enjoying a cigar here, and so for the occasion, I painted this this painting of us hanging out in the bar.
Is that a good-looking barmaid?
I don't know. Do you need your glasses?
No.
Here's your glasses.
No, that's for reading.
Oh.
Remember,
okay.
I had eye surgery.
Yeah, she was very good looking.
Good.
Yeah, the best.
All right.
Yeah.
A 10?
Okay, now let's move on to another side of Van Stein here.
Tell me.
Being a pilot, I'm interested in flying, and I work on, from time to time, help work on and restore World War II aircraft down at the Commemorative Air Force Museum in Camarillo.
The old Camarillo Air Base is now has a museum.
Yes, it's called the Commemorative Air Force Museum.
For
and you can go there and you see this painting there. It's a large painting I did of a plane that I got to fly. My first multi-engine experience was in this B-25.
You flew this plane?
I did, yeah. Actually, this is the Pacific Princess. I flew one like it. I flew the, what's it called? I forget the name. I remember it. Anyway, it's a long story.
And do other people fly with you?
Yeah. Yeah,
even
absolutely.
after knowing your
yes.
childhood and being accident prone, you couldn't get me up in a plane with you for $1 million.
I'm a good pilot. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe.
Okay.
I'm not a daredevil.
With my luck, you would go up in the plane with you, and the doctor's prediction that you would have mental problems would occur.
Yeah.
And we'd go. Cling.
That's the China doll. That's another one of our birds that down there in Camarillo, which I got to fly that a little bit coming back from Fresno for the Doolittle Raiders reunion.
That was a B.
That's a C-46 Curtiss Commando.
Okay.
So the criteria was
the
for me to paint an aviation painting like this. I needed to fly the bird, and then I could come back and I could do these paintings.
And the Curtiss Commando was used to
go the largest twin-engine transport in World War II.
Go over the hump.
Fly over the hump. That's correct.
From Burma to
India.
take supplies.
India, yeah. From India to Burma. Yeah. All right, next one. This is a large painting, 72 by 96. Took me 2 years to paint that.
Oh, you painted this?
I painted this, yes. Yeah.
Flying Tigers.
Yeah, that hangs down in the museum as well. If you go to the next one.
Well, wait. Flying Tigers.
It kind of gives you a scale. That's me in my studio after I'd finished it, getting ready to transport it down there. Which we had a huge celebration. They flew a P-40 and they flew a P-40 up from Chino, and they
What year was
had a little.
this?
This is about 5 years ago.
There aren't many of the Flying Tigers left.
That's correct.
General Chenault, he was married to Sun Yat-sen's daughter.
What was her name?
I don't know. Mrs. Chenault.
Yeah.
And they.
Rosalie.
Yeah, Rosalie?
No,
Was
I'm
it?
just kidding.
The,
We can go to the next one.
why are you rushing so when I'm talking?
Because the scale, they can see it on the walls. There you go. That's in the museum down there. Okay.
People can
now
go down
tell
and
your
see it.
story. I'm all ears.
Well, after the war, they
Yeah.
stayed. Well, first of all, how the Flying Tigers started.
Yeah. Yes.
They
They
are people
resigned
who
their commissions.
volunteers.
They resigned their commissions from the Army Air Force.
We
and
weren't in
went
the
over.
war, and
That's
they
correct.
went to defend
Yes.
China.
Yes.
And
that's right. And it was the AVG, the American Volunteer Group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that in the Second World War and the First World War, many Americans went to Canada
Yeah.
to go fight
For the
against
British.
the Nazis.
That's right, in the Battle of Britain.
Right, and
call them the
others
Eagle-
went to
Eagle
China.
Squadron.
Yeah, others
Yeah.
went to China to fight
Yeah.
against the communists. Against the Japanese and their atrocities that were occurring in Shanghai.
That's right.
And,
Help them boot them out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And after the war, Chenault formed an airline.
Yeah,
It was
Flying Tigers.
mainly a cargo airline called the Flying Tigers. Yeah.
See that cargo?
Yeah.
All right, next. Keep going. We'll move on
Oh,
through
from-
this one here.
Planes to trains.
Yeah. Now we go on my first museum exhibition.
Oh, now
there we go.
Now, is this where the gangbangers came up behind
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
Goleta train station.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
this is
this,
our own little
seriously, was this
train
the
station.
painting
Yeah.
that you were telling about
Yeah.
earlier?
Yeah.
So you're painting this, and some
Yeah.
gangbangers
Yeah.
come up, and you ended up being a teacher.
That's correct. And they hung out.
Yeah.
They drank, they smoked, they told stories, they had fun.
Do you get their phone numbers? You may need somebody to protect you someday.
This was for, I had a series of paintings I did for my first museum exhibition at the Carnegie Art Museum in Oxnard. So there were 30 new paintings that I had done, and the last two images that you
Quite a
saw
few
there
trains.
were part of that. Yeah, well, you know what, I pursued the desolate, the seedy side.
Yeah, we cut out some of the
We did, a
pictures
lot.
you did in Carson, California, and again of trains.
Yeah.
But
Let's go on.
almost everything you paint's after dark.
No, that's not true. You saw in the beginning all the daytime paintings that I did.
Yeah, but now it's sort of as you've gone to Bedlam, and after that, I haven't seen a daylight painting in the last few years. Do you think you're possessed?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love this one. Now, is that a painting or a picture?
This is a painting I did.
No, nobody could paint that.
I did this last summer, I believe, down in Santa Monica on the beach of the pier. And so, anyways.
Now, how long
I'm into
did it
the
take
nightlights.
you painted it in one
Yeah,
sitting?
I spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours on location, and then I spent about another hour, two
I
hours
have
in the
no
studio.
reason at all to ingratiate
Yeah.
myself with you because I do that with people who I think are much superior to me.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I can't.
So what are you saying?
I can't. Well, you're just an artist. You're not important. I can't believe that you could do that in an hour and a half. It is just.
Well, I get the start.
boggles
I
my
get
mind.
as much information as I can, and then I'll take it back to the studio, and then I'll just work from memory, and I'll develop it in the studio. Okay, because outside at night you don't see everything, or you just try to do what you can, and then
it's that photographic memory
yes.
that you got from being hit in the back of the head when you were a kid.
Oh, that must be it. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nobody ever told you that?
No.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a revelation
Yeah.
for me.
yeah. It's amazing. The NFL football players now are suing ex-football players over being hit in the head.
Yeah.
And they remember so much
Yeah.
that they didn't remember during the games.
Yeah.
Go back to that Montecito picture.
I have a friend named Richie. He owns Richie's Barber Shop in Santa Barbara, or in Montecito here on Coast Village Road. And I said, let's do a trade, man. How about a lifetime's worth of haircuts, and I paint you a painting of Edward Hopper's Early Sunday Morning painting, and then I'll put your name of Richie's Barbershop on the window. So let's see the next slide. And so I put Richie's Barbershop on it, and now that hangs in his barbershop, and I can get my hair cut whenever I want for the rest of my life.
I know
what little hair I have left on my head.
I was going to say that he got the better of the deal. Yeah.
I just better not move, or he better not die.
Don't tell him, just don't tell him where I am, but your painting's better than his haircut.
Oh, man.
But then again,
I don't know how to take this.
one of my heroes.
All right. Yeah, I got a commission last April that sent me to
One
England.
of my heroes.
To the Matisse Motorcycle Factory to paint on location in the factory. And the
Where
prize
is that?
motorcycle was the Steve McQueen Desert Racer. That's in England where I painted
Matisse,
that. Yeah. Matisse is in England. That's correct. And it's spelled M-I-T-E-S-S-E.
Now, that isn't what he drove over the hills in San Francisco.
No, that was developed. That was developed after.
Let's go to the next picture.
Kind of similar to the one he drove in the Great Escape. Okay, and so that was what it was modeled after. We can keep moving on. This is Ralph Pritikin here. That's another. This is a local artist. I did a album cover for a bus in
A singer.
A singer, yeah. Annie Dahlgren.
When you say
who just
artist.
wrote a movie. She just wrote a movie. Oh God, and what was it? It was in the film festival. Don't have my notes. Sorry, but anyways, Annie
Google
Dahlgren.
her name and you'll
Google
get
her
it.
name. Yeah, she just had a movie.
When you Google her name, do you see your painting again? Probably.
Probably, yeah, absolutely. Let's go on with the next. Next to last one. This is a homage to my father. This is a ship that he had sailed on in World War II.
Is that a Liberty ship?
And I painted that from, no, that's a T2, a mission class tanker in Suisun Bay up in San Francisco. And long story, I actually hired someone to take me out into the Ghost Fleet to take a picture of it, and then I painted that from a photograph.
My dad may have
him.
built that ship. He built ships at Mare Island during the war. Go ahead.
Oh, wow, that's cool. All right, yeah, he might have. That's no longer in existence. In fact, Huell Hauser was the one who pointed it out on one of his shows that he had done, which is where I saw that image
Let's go to the
of that
last
ship,
picture.
and I'd gone up there to do it. Okay, this is the last image that I'm going to show today. This is I was hired to paint this portrait of Josh Townsend, who lived in Solvang, Green Beret. In Afghanistan, he lost his life in Afghanistan, and
now this is the picture that you
I composed the picture. Yeah, it was two different pictures. I found the flag, and he had an antenna, and I had the photograph of him standing on his Humvee, and so I composed the painting with both of them, and they gave it to Josh's father as a present.
You're kind of patriotic.
I'm very patriotic, absolutely.
And you like guns.
Absolutely. Hoorah!
You know, I was telling somebody today, do
I'm
you
an
realize,
enigma.
do you realize these guns, these long guns, automatic weapons that they want to ban, killed them? Only 320 people were shot with rifles last year.
And how many with hammers?
450 people were murdered with hammers.
Yeah.
Thomas, thank you.
Every hammer is loaded.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Ban hammers.